Hi, my name is James. Thanks for checking out the very first version of the very first starter kit from Workshop Maybe. My goal is to provide a project-based learning opportunity for anybody who wants to be able to use and contribute to the Cardano platform. Over the next few months, we're going to be introduced to a lot of new technology. As Gauguin and Voltaire roll out, we and the rest of the general public have the opportunity to do things on a blockchain and with technology in general that are new, that maybe we've never done before. And when I think about my definition for success of the Cardano project overall, I want to see as many different sorts of projects and different sorts of people engaging with and benefiting from the Cardano platform as possible. So that's where we're going with this. Now, I'm choosing to start with GitHub because in my experience, GitHub serves as a line in the sand. It's the line past which people either choose to tread or not. And I've met a lot of technically oriented people, brilliant people who understand big ideas and who are very fluent in technology, who have said to me, hey, GitHub, that's where I stop. I could use this, and this tool, but I've never really dipped my toe into GitHub. I'd like to share this example today just as a way to maybe let you get your feet wet a little bit, okay? And also as an example of what I believe is an appropriate level of commitment, of engagement with a project, okay? So as more starter kits roll out, as these projects become a little more complicated and start to involve both code and real work with real people in the real world, it's going to be nice to just have a basic comfort level with how things work on GitHub. All right. So that's enough of me talking about it. Let's go and take a look at everything. We're going to start with a little bit of vocabulary and background, and then we're going to jump in to a pretty simple example of what it looks like to navigate and to get things done on GitHub. Here we go. All right, so let's get started with this very first starter kit. The thing I want you to know about all starter kits is that they are project-based, okay? No matter what you do, you're going to create something. You're going to go through the steps, and that's really critical to understand about what I'd like to accomplish with these things. I come to this work as a teacher. I spent 11 years teaching high school math, everything from 9th grade algebra up to AP computer science and calculus. And then I've spent the last 5 years training teachers to use new tools, often technology-based. Whether I'm teaching children or adults, I really believe that the best way to learn something is by doing it, finding out what could go wrong, right? Getting your hands dirty, getting your hands on the tools and the technology. So that's really how starter kits are going to work moving forward. When it comes to GitHub, as it will with other tools that we explore in these starter kits, sometimes it can help to start with some vocabulary. But I'm not going to go too deep into the words right now. I just want to expose you to some of the language that people use on a regular basis when they are working with GitHub. So first of all, what is GitHub? You've heard of it, all right? First of all, it's a website. It's a content platform where people can post their work. More importantly, it's a collaboration tool that has robust version control functionality. So a lot of us at this point have had the experience of working on a shared document. Think about Google Docs, right? That's great. It's wonderful that modern technology has given us the ability to collaborate on projects remotely. But if you're like me, maybe you've had this experience of realizing that especially as projects get really big, it can be difficult to keep track of who's doing what to the project and when it happened and where is our source of truth. What's the most important and most recent version of this thing? So Git, which is a language that underlies GitHub, provides a lot of functionality for version control. And GitHub provides a web-based portal for interacting with Git, with projects, with version control. It's important to note that a lot of people use GitHub as a social network. Okay, it's a place where you can go to hear what other people are doing, to learn from other people, to share your knowledge, to get your questions answered. And plenty of people even use GitHub as a platform for publishing their technically oriented blogs. Okay, so again, Git is the technology underlying GitHub that allows us to collaborate with version control. And then GitHub is this web-based portal that gives us content hosting and social networking functionality. There's some words you're going to hear. So a repository, fancy word, it's simply a project on GitHub. You'll hear a lot of people refer to it as a repo. Okay, so your repository or your repo is the place where a project lives. It has a bunch of different files. It can host pretty much any kind of file, although video sharing is not recommended. And it gives you a chance to organize things into folders and to provide documentation and all that. Repositories have owners who manage who can do what and what changes count in the repo, and collaborators, people who contribute to a project. There's also a pretty well-established process called the GitHub flow. Now, to oversimplify, you can hear a lot more about this online. I recommend just searching for it. The GitHub flow is all about making small changes quickly. And by the end of this starter kit, I hope to illustrate why that matters. All right. The flow is what you see right here on my screen. You find a repository that you want to contribute to, you create a branch of it. In your new branch, which is only yours and only you can see it, you can make changes. When you like your changes, you commit these changes to your branch. Once you're ready to share those changes with the original project owner, you open a pull request, which is then reviewed by the owner, and that the owner can choose to merge into the most up-to-date version of the repository. This starter kit is going to give you a very basic opportunity to see this process in action. There's also some action words, some verbs that you're going to see. I'm not going to go through all these right now, but you're going to see these on my screen as I show you the upcoming example. And then as you go through, you're going to recognize that these words are in common usage across GitHub. So a branch, I actually covered that one a moment ago. A fork, we're going to see in just a moment. And then there's these actions you can do while you're working on a file. You can commit small changes. You can open a pull request for the owner to incorporate those changes. And then when the owner is ready, they have the ability to merge. Don't worry at all if you don't have a full understanding of these words yet. The whole purpose of project-based learning is to give you a chance to see these words in action and develop your own understanding of what all this stuff means. So let's go into GitHub, and take a look. All right, so this is github.com. Here we are. Obviously, the first thing you're going to have to do is either sign up or sign in. I'm going to let you figure out that part for yourself. Okay, big green sign up button here. Or if you already have an account from some time in the past, you can just click the sign in button up top. You can log in and then we'll be good to go. Now, once you do log in, your screen might look a little bit different than mine. The key thing is that we all have a search bar up here. And I know that the user I am looking for is Workshop Maybe. So that's what I'm going to type here. I'm looking for a user named Workshop Maybe. I get these search results. Ooh, I see some repository results. No, but that's not what I'm looking for. I see some code, some commits as I scroll down here on the left. Issues, bunch of words. Some of these we've covered already, some of these we haven't. But down here on the bottom, users. I think that's what I'm looking for. There it is. Okay. A user named Workshop Maybe. Notice the URL up here, github.com/username. Okay. So anybody who has a GitHub account can share this link to share their work with the world. I have some repositories up here at the top of the page, and the one we're using today is called Leave Your Mark. Starter kit number 1, Leave Your Mark. Notice the URL now, and this is the one I am linking directly in the course materials, okay? github.com/username, and then the name of the project or repository that we're working in. This is about as simple a repository as you can have. Every GitHub project should have a README file. So notice this says all caps readme.md. And whatever's in that README file shows up right here. These are your notes about this repository. I'm going to add to these a little bit after I finish making this video. Okay, so maybe by the time you get to this page, you'll see some different text and some links right here. But the idea is that your README file is the way that you share about your project with the outside world, with anybody who might want to collaborate with you. The other file in here is just a text file that I made called testlist.txt. Okay, this is definitely not an essential piece of all GitHub repositories. It's just the file that we're going to use to talk about what collaboration looks like at a very basic level here on GitHub. If you find any file that you want to change or contribute to, you can click on it. So here we are. So now I'm in the file called test-list.txt, and if I scroll down the page, I can see the extent of the file right here. It looks like a really kind of cheap text-based version of Twitter or something, okay? We've got these like blocks of text right here. Those are what we're going to use today. Now you can see the instructions here, and you'll be able to follow these when you get in here yourself, okay? Glad you're here. We hope you'll leave your mark on this test-list.txt file. And there's 3 steps. Scroll to the bottom and copy the last message block. In your new copy, change the date, okay? And then change the message to leave your own mark. You can choose to write your name if you want to. In order to do this, I'm going to have to edit this file. So here's the edit button up here. I'm going to click on that. When I do, notice this notification up here. Look for some of that vocabulary that I shared with you a little while ago. You're making changes in a project that you don't have write access to. Submitting a change will write it to a new branch, okay, in your fork. Oh, there's that word fork. And look at this, we've got a new username. This is my username instead of Workshop Maybe, and then the name of the repository here. And then I can send a pull request. All right, cool. So I'm not working anymore in Workshop Maybe's repository. If I change this file, it's only going to exist in my fork of this repository. All right, well, we'll try to figure out what the implications of that are in just a minute. But let's see, I'm going to scroll to the bottom. I'm going to find the last block. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to make some space below, paste it. There we go. There's a copy of that block. I'm going to change the date to today. And what do I feel like saying today? Well, it's really good to be thinking about GitHub. I don't know. I have, you'll be more creative than me when you share your message there. Feel free to share your name if you want to, okay? But the point is, you're leaving your mark on this document that everybody else who does this starter kit will also propose changes to. Now, I'm using that word propose just like it's used down here. This is not a save button, okay? Because I don't have access to save my changes to the actual repository over at Workshop Maybe. All I can do is propose changes to that file and hope that the repository's owner picks them up, okay? All right, let's see. So the name of my changes, yeah, I updated this file, and I'm going to write a quick message here. I'm going to write that I left my mark. Okay, I'm going to propose those changes. Let's see what happens. Cool. All right, so now I get another message. I can discuss and review the changes in comparison with others. I can learn about pull requests. There's a big green button prompting me to create a pull request. And here, down here, you can see in green, that's highlighting what I just changed. Cool. If I'm happy with that, that's when I can go ahead and create this pull request. A pull request is a message to the owner of the original repository that says, hey, I think you're going to like these changes, and I'd like to talk about them with you, okay? So at this point, I'm going to create this pull request. Oh, there's the text I wrote earlier. There's the same subject line. I could edit this subject line if I want to. I could say like update from James. And then in the text here, you know what? I think I'm going to let you know a little bit about conventions on GitHub. It's actually conventional when we're talking about commits and requests to use the present tense, okay? Because this change has not been made yet. Leave my mark, okay? And often in a commit log, which you'll learn more about eventually, you're not going to use punctuation at the end of this. You'll see you could write a whole email right here, right? You can mention people, you could write complete sentences, format the text, even attach screenshots and other files. For now, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to say leave my mark, okay? Now, when you fill in this box, you're writing a message to me, the owner of this repository. So feel free to say and share whatever you want right here, including feedback on this starter kit itself. All right, here we go. I'm going to create this pull request. Let's see what it says. It's checking. Ooh, it just checked, and it says this branch has no conflicts with the base branch. All right, so now I can see my account, James Dunseith, wants to merge one of his commits to the Workshop Maybe master branch from this patch 5, which is kind of a temporary branch that was just created in the fork that I created of this original project, okay? So we have the original project hosted at Workshop Maybe. We've got what's called a fork that I just created in my account, James Dunseith. And I made some changes to that fork, which are not yet part of the master file, the final draft, the current draft of this file over at Workshop Maybe. And for now, because I'm not actually a collaborator on this project yet, I don't have access to merge this on my own, that's all I can do. So once you get to this step, you're kind of done for now until you see that I've kind of taken your change and merged it in. All right, that was painless, right? You just opened up my repository, you forked it to your own account, you opened up a file, you committed some changes to that file, and you submitted a pull request that says, hey James over at Workshop Maybe, could you merge these into the test list .txt file so those become part of the record over at Workshop Maybe. Nice job. Now, I'm going to, next time I open my email, I'm just going to go through and check off your merge request, make it part of the file, and you should get a notification from that. It's nice working with you. In the next video, I'm going to show you a few things that could go wrong that I haven't covered yet. But thanks, and congratulations for making it this far. All right, so now we're going to take a look at what we see as an owner of a repository when other folks submit pull requests to that repository. So I'm here in Workshop Maybe's GitHub account. Here's our username. Here's the name of the repo. And you can see that in the repo, we've got these two pull requests. Gosh. So, my friends of the Afro FinLab podcast also got in here within the last few minutes and I guess tried to leave their mark as well. Very cool. So let's see. This is the pull request that we submitted live on video a few minutes ago. And you can see update test-list.txt from James. There's this comment, leave my mark. And first of all, if I trust this guy, I could just press merge pull request, but maybe I want to take a look at what James did to it first. Okay, so there's this one commit right here. Ah, there it is in green, what changed. We saw this on the other end. And yeah, I'm okay. There's no swear words in that. I would like for this to become part of the test-list.txt file. Okay, so I'm gonna go down. I reviewed the changes. I'm gonna go back to that commit. Yep, that looks good. And back on the conversation tab, I'm able to merge this pull request. Let's confirm it. Oh, I guess that's done. So it's merged, purple. Excellent. Let me go back now to the home page of this repository. Notice that my number of pull requests just went down to 1. And if I go to this file, look, there's more lines than there were before, 48 lines now. And look, okay, there's the brand new message from James 917. Wow, it's really good to be thinking about GitHub. Got it. All right, I'm on fire. Let's go merge another pull request with this file. So this time, Afro FinLab. Well, they left their mark too. This time, it says there's a conflicting file. Why? I guess I should go check out that commit. Take a look at how it changed the file as well. So Afro FinLab made this change, and so far so good. It looks okay, but notice that this is going on to the same lines of the file as that other commit that we just merged with the master branch a few minutes ago. And so when I go actually and I try to merge this, I actually can't. The button is grayed out. And it's my responsibility now as the owner of this repository to figure out what happened. And what you can see here, check it out, lines 46 through 50, there's this problem, right? Here's both of those lines that me on video with you, I added this line, but also Afro FinLab added this line, and they're conflicting with each other. Now, you don't have to worry about this. I did this to myself by allowing multiple people, like James, like the James Dunseith account, and like Afro FinLab, to pop in and make changes to this file at the same time. So it's on me now to make a copy of this. I'll make one copy here and another copy below. In one of them, I'll drop that note and this kind of GitHub syntax, and in the other one I'm going to keep only Afro FinLab's work. So that was rather painless, certainly not something I would want to be doing all the time. And if you're wondering, there's ways that GitHub provides to deal with this, okay? But at the end of the day, now you can see, okay, I just did a tiny bit of work right there to make sure to merge both of these requests, and I'm happy with how this looks. So now I can mark this as resolved, and now I've got a green commit merge button. Cool. Now if I go back to the home page of my repository, oops, that pull request is still there. Let's make sure. Oh, okay, I got to do the last step and merge it. Confirm that. Yep, we dealt with those changes. It's looking good now. All right, now if I go back to the home page of the repository, I'll see there's no further pull requests for me to review. And if I review test-list.txt, I see both the Afro FinLab response and the James Dunseith response right here, and they're both part of this. Would it be appropriate to call this a chain of blocks? Probably not. I'm just kidding. We could talk about why this is not a blockchain, right? There's only one single source of truth right here, but I'll save that topic for a different time. But at the end of the day, what you see is that this one owner, Workshop Maybe, was able to merge both of those changes into what is now our master branch, our single source of truth for this file, testlist.txt. I showed you one of the things that could go wrong on my end is if I allow the public, anybody who wants to go find my repository, make pull requests that could yield a messy situation on my end as I go through, in this case, a text file, but in other cases, this might be code, right? It's up to the owner then to say, okay, which of these changes am I actually going to incorporate? You might remember at the beginning of this lesson, I said, when we talk about the GitHub flow, the purpose is being fast, right? Creating a branch, committing changes to it, and then once you have a small change made, submitting a pull request, and the more frequently and the smaller you keep your pull requests, the easier it is for the owner of the repository to incorporate those one by one without dealing with all these conflicts that can happen when people make big changes or take a long time. Now, another reason conflicts might happen is that, now that the workshop maybe version of this repo includes those recent changes, if I went back to my James Dunseith account, right, it's one thing to be able to see those changes, and I'm going to see them here now, right? I'm in James's account. Here's both of those new changes. However, if I go back to my repositories and I find my copy, this is the James Dunseith copy of Leave Your Mark, and I go take a look at it, oh my gosh, I have a really old version of that. Yikes. I might want to do something about that. I might want to get the most up-to-date version of this repository. And to do that, I have to sync my fork of this repository with the up-to-date one hosted on Workshop Maybe. That's a slightly more advanced trick, and I'm going to include how to do that in the bonus exercises for this starter kit. For now, you've seen a quick overview of how to find a GitHub user, to check out one of their repositories. In my case, it was this really simple Workshop Maybe Leave Your Mark repository. To go in, take a look at a file, choose to edit it. By choosing to edit it, you created your own fork of that repository that now exists on your GitHub account. Make changes to it. Submit those changes as a pull request that then the owner can take and incorporate by merging into the master branch of the repository. That's it for the basics of this starter kit right here. You've now seen enough to grab some files, to play with them, and to share back with the owner. I do hope that you'll check out the bonus content for this starter kit. First of all, I mentioned the challenge exercise is to sync your fork of the Leave Your Mark starter kit repo with the current one that I've now made. And also, if you're understanding everything so far, I really encourage you to check out GitHub's learning resources. They're really good. They pass my test for being project-based. They're using a little bit more advanced technology than I'm using in this one, so you can see an example of web-based, project-based learning at work. It's really good. So as part of the documentation for this starter kit, I am sharing links to GitHub's learning materials. You'll see if you look at Workshop Maybe on GitHub, you'll see I have repos for some of these learning experiences that I've been working through myself, just to provide examples for you. Okay, so check that out. Do try those challenge exercises. Do continue going with the GitHub learning materials, and I really hope this was helpful. I love feedback. I know this is probably too long, so if you have ideas for how I can make this shorter and sweeter, I'd love to hear from you. Please, above all, be in touch, and I'm really glad we're on this journey together. Cheers.